How are you today?
All right.
Good. We're here today to talk about your journey into photography. So where did you first start?
When I was really little, I used to use my mum and dad's camera because it was just me and my mum and dad. So if they wanted photographs of the two of them, I had to take it.
Yeah.
So I'd use their camera sometimes, and I had a 110 camera, a little rectangular thing that you pushed it in and out when I was about 8. I've got some of the photographs that I took.
Right, let's have a look.
Yeah, that was the family, and at some point we've put the date 1975 on it.
That's a nice clear photograph.
It is.
At the time.
I think that was probably on my mum and dad's camera, because 75 I would be about 7. So I
You started young then, didn't you?
Yeah. That's a similar time, and that again, cutting my mum and dad's head off.
Which we all do.
Which we all do, but at the time, it's what you did. But it's probably clearer because it was probably a reasonably decent camera.
Yeah.
But the first ones that I know were on my own camera were these, and they are so blurry.
You can't see who it is. Can't even tell it's a person.
But they're 1976,
Right.
and we were down in Dorset, and I remember the holiday. It was during that really hot summer, and I remember walking around with my camera, and my mum telling me, "Be careful how many you take, because you've got 24 shots, and that's all you can have all holiday."
Not like today then.
Not like today. You were careful of your film. And just looking at what we had, you know, every photo I've got is a holiday or Christmas. Apart from that, which was my last day of primary school.
Right.
And it was 2 of my friends sat on the wall at a very odd angle, which now I do on purpose, but I didn't do on purpose then.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You did start early though.
Yeah, but that was 1978 when I was 10.
Wow.
My last day of primary school. So yeah, I started early, and I always had a camera after that. And when it was a film camera, holidays and Christmas mainly.
And did you get into digital or?
Yeah, my husband's really into tech, and as soon as digital cameras came out, we had one. And I think it was something like a 4 megapixel camera.
Right, high tech.
But very high tech at the time, but we had one, and we both used it. And we both loved it. And yeah, we'd gone on from there. We had digital cameras, slowly getting better. When the children were little, we were still using 35mm.
Right.
But certainly by the time they were school age, we were using digital cameras.
Right.
And that would be 20 years ago. So
and downloading to a computer?
Yes, downloading them on a computer. And I've got hard disks with lots of old pictures on. But I got a Fujifilm bridge camera, and that was the first one I had that was more of a DSLR, because although it was a bridge camera, it did have manual settings.
Right.
But I was using everything on auto.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and thought, this is ridiculous, it can do so much more. No idea how to use it. So I looked at the adult college, and they were doing evening classes in digital photography.
No, that's a great way to start.
It was.
Yeah.
It was, I did 2 years, made some great friends. But each year, we had, to get the qualification, each year we had to do a project.
Right.
The first year's project was this. We
The
had to
Enchanted
do
Woods.
Yeah, we had to do something to do with place. So people did all different kinds of places and things, but I chose the woods.
Right.
And did a series of woodland shots. And some of them I like more than others. But this was just as I still had the bridge camera, and it was just as I was beginning to learn to use manual. I wasn't shooting on RAW at the time. This shot is something I loved doing pictures of, is texture. And it was right up against the bark of the tree with all the lichen growing on it.
Yeah, that's my other half genre, that
Yeah.
texture.
I love photos like that.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. The trunk in focus.
Yeah, yeah.
And, that was something I'd only just learnt to do. And yet, it's something that we all do now. Like the light coming through the leaves.
Contre-jour.
Yeah. I love things like that. And close-ups of leaves and things like that. But this is another of my favourite shots. Look, it was a tiny Christmas tree about this high, and I'm looking right down on the top of it.
Right.
So it's almost like a star.
It's like an abstract, isn't it?
Yeah. But I really enjoyed doing that course and doing that. Then when we went on to the second year, we had to choose a genre. for our final project, and I did street photography.
Oh yeah.
And did a photo, presented it as a photo book. So the official pictures, because we had to do a certain number, the official ones are the large black and white down each side.
Right.
But I put each one against the colour image, just with a quote that seemed, and I did them all at Lancaster train station.
Oh right.
Which is a great place for doing street photography because people just don't notice. Or they get in on trains.
They're too busy, aren't they?
Yeah, and once they get on a train, well, they're on there, so they're not going to stop you because they're going. And there's so many people will think you're taking photographs of the trains or photographs of the architecture.
There's an up-and-coming contest, isn't there, with street photography?
Yes, I said I probably won't do very well because I don't tend to do very well in the competitions.
I haven't got a single street shot, so I haven't entered. She's the only one I'm not entered.
Oh,
Because
that's a
I'm
shame.
rubbish at street.
Yeah, I really. In fact, it was the first competition in ages that I had more than 2 or 3 to choose from.
Right.
And I had about a dozen, and I'm thinking, I wonder which is the best of these. And that's something I always really struggle with, knowing which one to choose.
Yeah.
And there were some shots that I was doing, and I thought, I missed by minutes. I was watching somebody walk towards me with a big balloon, and it was all wrapped up in a bag, but you could see it was one of these helium balloons. And there was so much crowd in the way. And I was trying to move to where I could get him and the balloon in. And by the time we were close enough, there was too many people in between us, and he'd pulled the balloon down.
Right.
I thought, oh,
I think getting the perfect shot, you have to be in the right time at the right place.
yes, definitely, definitely.
How are you today? How's your photography developed today?
I do a lot of different things now.
All right.
Yeah. I'll show you these. These are quite different. This is photography, but it's cyanotypes. These are just pieces I was experimenting with. So we've got it's fabric, and it's coated with a light reactive liquid, left to dry in the dark, and then when you want to expose it, you pull it out, put it flat, put what you're going to expose on top. So for this one, I had a cardboard skull and crossbones, put a piece of glass over it to hold everything in place.
Yeah.
And you leave it out in the sun.
Right.
And
how long for?
It varies. It depends, first of all, how bright the sun is. I mean, on a day like today, you'd leave it out for hours and it probably still wouldn't expose very well. In the middle of summer, when it's brightly overhead, 5 minutes can do it.
Right.
And yeah, the longer it exposes, the darker it will go. But if you're doing something fine, like this, and you leave it for too long, you can lose some of the detail.
Right.
So you've got to kind of judge how hot the sun is and what you're actually doing with it. And sometimes I get it right and sometimes I don't.
It gives you greater insight into the process, doesn't it?
It does, and it really makes you appreciate how much a digital camera does for you.
Yeah.
But I do things like this and then I will stitch into them. So if I was doing this one, for instance, I would probably stitch the writing and maybe stitch the tree trunks and the leaves.
Right.
Or a frame, depending on how I was feeling.
Right.
But when you do them on paper, you can do things like spray vinegar onto the paper.
And what does that do?
Well, if you do it just as you're about to expose it, it reacts with the chemicals and it gives you like a mottled background.
Oh, right.
So instead of getting a plain blue, it changes it maybe to a little bit of brown, depending on exactly how much you've got. And it gives you like bubbles and things. You can also use soap bubbles. And you throw soap bubbles on it, and you get all the circles where the bubbles are.
Oh, right.
Because the light going through the glass and through the bubbles
Diffracted.
it diffracts, yeah. So you get all kinds of really fun things with it. But you need a sunny day or you need UV lamps. And with UV lamps, it's a completely different setup again.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's good fun to play with. I did quite a bit of it during lockdown. I do lots of stuff really, but I've got so many hobbies that I like it when I can tie them together. I do these for my daughter. I think most people have heard me talk about Alex, but she's got a learning disability and autism, and she has epilepsy as well.
Oh dear.
And especially when she has seizures, but even generally, her memory isn't always brilliant. And with the autism, one of her real big things is she likes her family around her. She likes memories of her family. She's always loved looking at photos.
Wonderful.
She'll still sit and look through her baby photos. But I do, roughly once a year, a photo book. So this was a really brief one, Alex in 2018. And it was just things that she's done, pictures of her dressing up as for steampunk. The teddy that her brother gave when they went off to university. This was at Vintage by the Sea when she went on the horses. Just little things to remind her of things she's enjoyed doing. She was saying, it's been a really bad year. And I looked through my photographs and found so many things that she'd really enjoyed doing during lockdown. So I did a whole book. I mean, this was just before when we celebrated her birthday in January. But we found lots of things that she'd really enjoyed doing, barbecuing in the garden and eating lots of Easter eggs. And toasting marshmallows and outdoor parties and, having the family in the garden.
It doesn't look like a terrible year, does it?
No, and she was smiling on all of them when she goes to a club called Forever, which is part of Unique Kids. Mm. And when they reopened, and the joy on her face when she went back for the first day, she had a great time. And when she looked, she said, actually, we had a good year.
Yeah.
And it's just nice to remind her of the good times. It's not kind of brilliant club photography, but for me, it's a really good use of the photographs that I take. This year, for her birthday, we got her a digital photo frame.
Oh, yeah.
And we've uploaded, about 200 photographs of the family from the last year into it. It's, like I said, it's snapshots. It's memory shots. It's the kind of thing that sometimes you think judges kind of turn their noses up at.
Yeah.
Because that's not club photography. But it's still really good for us to do. And our families still need those shots. The other thing I've been doing, which again, it's not club photography, is I started going out for a walk every day.
Right.
And I started doing it as a sponsored thing for West End Impact. They were raising money for their mental health team. And I thought, can I do it or not? So I did about 10 days before I said I would. And they were doing 6 weeks as the clocks changed. And just as we came up to it, I thought, I'll give it a go. So I said, I'll join you and I'll walk every day for those 6 weeks. And as I started doing it, I started taking photographs. Just because I was out walking with my phone in my hand. And I thought, I've got to do something. And I found that if I took the photographs as I was walking, it gave me more of a purpose to the walk. And I didn't notice the fact that I actually was getting some exercise as much. But I've actually found it really was helping my mental health, because I get depressed very easily. And self-care's quite important. Yeah. And there's bits of self-care we don't like, and exercise tends to be one of them. And the walks have really helped. And taking photographs on them and posting them every day onto Facebook, again, the fact that people are saying, it's good, continue, encourages me to continue walking.
Yeah.
And
fantastic location for walking.
Yeah, it is. But I started looking at the photographs I was taking, and I pulled together. There's lots of photographs that, by themselves, don't look much. A single one of these is odd. But when you put them all together,
it's a story.
Yeah, you've got a story there, and these are all on Middleton Sands. And I found Middleton Sands, there's something about it that you look at the grasses growing and the way the salt goes into the sands, and you get all these odd shapes, and you get bits of the salt, and it's like another world. It's like an alien planet almost. And I was these are all taken on my phone.
Right.
Taking all these, and samphire growing as well. Taking all these little close-ups. Like, what do I do? I've got to do something with them.
Yeah.
So I put them all together in a grid, put them on made a poster out of them.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah,
Absolutely
I really
beautiful.
like that. Now, my printer's gone a bit funny, which is why I've only got a few of these. But Hewsham Lighthouse is one of my favourite places to walk. Now, I can tell the printer's gone funny because I know that these weren't taken at sunset. They were taken with a bright blue sky.
Right.
So this is why I haven't printed any more out. But, you know, if I said it was sunset, you'd think those were great.
Yeah, you don't.
But again, I love the close-ups. Odd shots like this, where this is the grid from on the top here, from underneath.
Right.
And you can't enter it as a club competition or anything, but they're the shots I love to take.
Just put it in a frame and put it on your wall.
Yeah, well, I will, yes. But I love things like that. And one day I went round and the door was open. They were repainting it. In fact, you can see it was rusty here and repainted there.
Right, yeah.
But the door was open. So I looked inside and could see the rusty stairs inside going up. And I was so pleased I'd gone there that particular day. Because any other day, it was just chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've been taking photographs every time I've gone out, and I've got all kinds of things. So I've got lots of, obviously, being here, I've got lots of shots of the beach. And, you know, sometimes they're looking back at the beach, sometimes they're on the beach looking out across the bay, of the stones, the shells, of the base of the old lighthouse, of the paths going up over the barrows, of the ship sculpture. The ship sculpture's wonderful for getting at different angles. Everybody shoots it from behind looking out to sea.
Yeah.
With the figures against the sunset and things. But if you go and stand on the beach and look up at it, you get a completely different view.
Right.
And it's just one of those odd angles that I really like.
So it's enjoyable, you get exercise, and it's a photographic journey as well.
Yeah.
And you spiritually feel uplifted.
I feel uplifted by it. And I'm hoping that when I get those printed properly, I might be able to do something with them. Because one of the things I've done with these is these will... that is Hewsham Lighthouse.
Yeah.
But I've taken the photographs and then gone into on my phone and then gone into various apps and kind of done painterly effects or this one's not put in a frame yet, but made them abstract.
Yeah,
This was all the bluebells up on the barrows. Made them abstract and done different effects on them. Some I've used grunge filters on and things. And I found that prints of those I've been able to sell at craft fairs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
And you know,
And make money to them.
yeah, if I showed them to a judge, in fact, if I showed them to half the club, they'd go, ugh. But I couldn't paint. I can't paint, but I can still get that effect by manipulating the photographs.
Well, photography is painting by light,
Painting by light, yeah. And I can do things with photographs that I couldn't do any other way. And like I say, it's not things that the club would like, and it's things that judges would hate. But, you know, I don't care. And I just like to play around with things. I like to have fun and to play with what I do.
I think that runs very clearly through most of the members in the club, this particular club, that it's about enjoying the photography, not taking photographs that judges will like, because that's... I don't think anybody's really interested in doing that, to be honest with you.
But we've got some fantastic photographers in the club. And I look at them and I can learn from what they're doing, but to get myself to that standard, I'd have to improve my eyesight, I'd have to spend hours learning Photoshop properly, I'd have to spend hours learning all the different technical bits, and that would be at the expense of building Lego and sewing and making collage and all the other things that I enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And for me, it's about having fun. So I take the photographs I enjoy taking.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about in the end of the day. Well, it's been absolutely wonderful talking to you. I've learnt a lot about you and your photography, and I'd like to say thank you.
That's all right. I'm more than happy, and if I can encourage people to just take the photographs they enjoy taking, and even if you're not taking club standard, judge-worthy photographs, if you're enjoying taking them, then take them and do something with them. Print them out.
That's all that matters.
Yep.
Thank you.